What is up, everybody? Loud No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. Just wanted to jump on this live right quick.
ELD data diagnostic event occurred.
Every time I get on here, I wonder if I did this shit right. Alright, Slime Pack, what's up? I got my Super Trucker headset on. Myth Leather, I sent you that damn address. Didn't see anything back. But whatever it is you make, that's some good looking stuff. Why don't you put your link in the chat or something, man? You make some good stuff over there. I checked out your website when you gave me that. That's why I said it was clickbait. I got on my Super Trucker headset because I got the air conditioner on and the air would blow right near the microphone of the phone because this phone could get kind of hot. And see, the difference between me and Slime Pack, no, I'm joking, is I'll tell you when it's clickbait. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway. I'm going to wait for a few more people to come in here and talk about some of the stuff that's been on my mind. And I saw somebody do some Dukes of Hazzard shit last night. I was just up at the terminal. No, I don't use iPhone. I use Android. Man, I could probably do that with this phone, but I'm just not too into figuring all that stuff out. Trucking Unfiltered, go check him out. And Tommy Unfiltered, just got off the phone with him. He just bought him a truck and a trailer. He's out there doing his thing. Oh, so Slime Pack says it's bait clicking. Okay. That's semantics, I'm assuming. Dick, I did get the new tabs on the Prime app. Yeah, I saw that shit. I was just up at the terminal yesterday, and everybody talks about going to the terminal, and it's going to be like a black hole, and you can't get out of the terminal. I had a load that was picking up. Now I don't know where it picked up at. Let me take a look. But I picked up a load. Oh, shit. Oh, here it is. All right. So I picked up a load, and I needed to go to the terminal to get some work done on my truck. You know, this new carb thing they're talking about, plus DPF filter change and all this kind of stuff. So my APU was not working right. Okay, so I picked it up in Nashville, Arkansas, the load that was going to Edwardsville, Kansas. And I told my fleet manager, you know, I gotta get to Prime, which is why I got that load. And he was like, because I was asking, do you expect me to drop this load off and then come to Prime, or just bring it to Prime? And he said, just do whatever you want, man. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna drop it at Prime. And then I looked at that route. I'm not taking 65 through Branson and Arkansas and all that. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna drop this off in Edwardsville, Kansas. I'll deadhead back. So I dropped it off yesterday morning at like 9 o'clock. Or no, 11 o'clock. Got back to 65. Listen, I'm not saying it's impossible, but why are you going to burn up all that fuel and even put yourself? It's some routes just. What you saying there now? Some of them routes just ain't worth taking. So anyway, I was like, fuck it. So I'll drop it off in Edwardsville, deadhead back. So I dropped it off, got back to the terminal at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I had an appointment to get the truck in to get all the work done on it at 10 p.m. They got me in about 7:30, got me out at about 11:30. And then I don't do the whole call-in driver lineup shit. If it's after hours and my fleet manager's not there, I walk right on up there. So walked up the driver lineup. They're like, we got this load going to Russellville, Arkansas. Boom. Got that load. So I was in and out of Prime, getting work done with the load, all that stuff by like, I think I left at 3 in the morning. The only reason I left at 3 was because the trailer needed to go to the trailer shop. So that's what took me so long to kind of get out of there. But dropped it off. I got there at 8:30 this morning. My appointment wasn't until 11. Those guys out there at that Americold had me in and out of there, full trailer, less than 30 minutes. So went up to the washout next to the Flying J, got the trailer washed out, posted up at the Flying J. An hour and a half later, they gave me this load picking up in Carthage, Missouri, going to Nashville. Where the fuck is this going? It's not regular Nashville. Nashville, or Louisville, Tennessee. So, Harrison, I don't know anything about that town out there. I've been surprised a lot more than I've been let down by some of the towns that I've gone through and kind of had a bad feeling about. As a matter of fact, just a couple weeks ago, I was driving through Oklahoma. I was going to stop at this truck stop. Stopped at the truck stop, and I'm reading the reviews, and it's like talking about all this racist shit. And I went in there, and the people were like, nice as shit. So I don't know. Anyway, before I get too deep into this, I want to thank everybody that gave me the motivation to do this video, because I talked to a couple people that were asking me why I hadn't been doing anything lately. I ran into a driver when I was in the shop yesterday. He asked me that question, and then somebody else asked me a question about that. I didn't even go in the terminal yesterday. I did not step foot in there. I was like, get me in and out before they try to slap a camera in this truck. And people are going to say, well, they're going to do it anyway at some point. Well, I'm going to die at some point too. I'm not trying to rush that shit. So, anyway. Oh, I think I have seen that sign that says keep our town white. But, alright, so anyway, talk about this leaving Prime, the clickbait stuff. By the way, I met a driver at Prime in Laredo Terminal. This is his business card. That's cool right there. So anyway, I've talked to a few people have called me, stuff like that. And some people are thinking about leaving Prime. I've thought about it just based on, you watch the meetings, they're saying we're family and all this kind of stuff, and I think we were. I think things have changed quite a bit, but that doesn't necessarily matter all that much. It just makes me change the way that I relate to the company. You know what I mean? So, let me turn this off for a second. So, I've talked to a couple of drivers, not necessarily on the phone so much as like meeting people out. People that have been at Prime way longer than me. One guy's 10 years. Talk to somebody that's right at like 8 years. Those are the two that come to mind. If I talk to you and I'm not mentioning you, I apologize for that. But these are two that come to my mind. And everybody, the people that aren't affected by the culture at Prime are the ones that are always talking about the culture at Prime. You know what I mean? talking about all this kind of stuff. And a lot of this stuff is brought on by herself, and a lot of it's brought on by the company. And sometimes you just got to say what it is. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, for example, I'm not going to tell everybody I'm transparent while I'm not being transparent. Those are things that don't necessarily go hand in hand. It doesn't necessarily mean that the company's bad or that you don't want to work there, but anyway, that's kind of what's going on. I'm gonna get into where I'm at right in a little bit. So anyway, in talking to these people, that's the one thing they're missing. You know, I haven't talked to at least the drivers I've talked to are still like, I'm making money and all that kind of stuff, and if things, you know, if I wasn't making money, I'd be gone, you know. Whereas I think a while back people were like, I'm not making money, I'm gonna thug it out just because I like the company, and you know, we'll work our way through it. I just think that there are a lot of people that aren't willing to do that right now. But for the most part, the people I'm talking to are making the money, and I know there are people that have recently quit, but personally, it hasn't been the money or the revenue. Let me change that up. It hasn't been the revenue which has been the problem. But the culture kind of has made it a little bit harder to kind of work, you know. Let me see. The fleet manager has a lot to do with it. And, you know, I talk to people and they're just like, you know, either I'm a company driver and I'm not getting the miles, or I'm a lease driver and I'm not getting the money. And I'm just like, I do believe in the long run, the more miles you run, the more money you're going to make. You ain't going to have nobody out there, at least at Prime, picking all the like short, you know, high dollar. You can only do that so much. You know what I mean? In the long run, that shit's going to even its way out. So if I was in, so I don't know why people aren't doing it. You know, or why people are having problems with it. You know, I say it could be the fleet manager, but then some of the people that are having problems have the same fleet manager as I do. Or, you know, it could be a number of different things or reasons why I can't figure out why people aren't doing it, but I haven't had that problem. And I've talked to some people and I'm just like looking at how they run their loads and I'm just like, maybe that's the problem. You know, if I got meat on that bone, I'm running that shit.
You have 2 hours and 53 minutes of remaining drive time.
Sometimes people get a little too relaxed and don't run out all them miles. Like, you know, a good example would be today. I got a load that I was already relaxing. I have a pickup tomorrow at 8:30. Some people might have got that load and just been like, you know, fuck it, I'll go get it in the morning. And then I just was like, you know, let me just get out here. You know, so then tomorrow when I pick it up, I'm going to have like 690 miles to go. I'll have this shit all the way out there tomorrow. So let's say Saturday for a Monday pickup. And then I'll be primed to do a repower or primed to get a 34, whatever it is. Give me just a second. But I don't know. I can't put my finger on why people are leaving. But, you know, they're talking about they're hiring people back that quit Prime a while back. And that's good. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's good to appreciate where you've been. But you also, it's sort of like that parent. And that's the difference. You know, that's one thing I made sure of when I was when I was raising my kids is if I say I'm going to do some shit, I'm going to do some shit. I can't be telling my kids, if you do this shit, I'm going to do this shit, and then they do that shit, and I don't do anything about it. So a while back, they were, you know, that was one of the things that they were saying. If you leave, don't think about coming back, and for lack of better words, and now it's like, come on back. And it's like, sometimes you set a bad precedent with that. right. Have I heard about the new tablets finally getting rid of the ancient Qualcomm? I'd rather take the ancient Qualcomm and no goddamn camera than the best technology in the world and have a camera. So I am anti-camera. So I'm going to do it, and which is the point. I had a chance to reflect on things, because you talk to enough people that have left, and some are doing good, some are doing bad. And I never really thought about leaving Prime, but I was just like, you know what? It's not like there's anything wrong with it, but sometimes it just grates on you just that little bit. And I'm not talking about my fleet manager or payroll or anybody that I directly relate with, or even some of the drivers. Well, these Facebook groups are out of fucking control. But if I'm talking about up above that, I think that some of the stuff is just, I've had to take that off of my little family plan. That's not when I'm talking about family, that's not where I'm reaching to, because if I did, I'd just be left feeling underwhelmed. So I just tightened up my circle, looked at the good shit with Prime, and when I started thinking about, what, do I really want to be here? Here's some advantages of going somewhere else. I started thinking about all the stuff that even through the bullshit is good stuff at Prime. You know what I mean? Whether it be the fuel discounts or paying part of the tolls, or just breaking down on the highway and having somebody come out there without even making a phone call, or the constant freight, the freight I like. There's a lot of different reasons to be at Prime, and I don't need anybody at Prime selling me on it either. As soon as you start selling me on the reason why I'm here, that makes me feel a little like, I don't need that. Roger says it's a trust issue for me. I trust them to have the best loads. They don't trust me. That's a huge issue. You know what? Here's one thing I will say, and I've always fought against this term starter company, because I do believe that the money I feel that I've generated in the trucks I've drove is far more than what I would consider to be starter driver pay. But when I start thinking about that term, here's what comes to mind. I think that Prime is treating everybody to the lowest common truck driver. So, for instance, you could be at Prime for 25 years or 34 years in the case of somebody that I talked to, and maybe your fleet manager might be a little bit lenient, maybe there's some stuff you may or may not have to do, but as a whole, you're getting treated just like that day one out of TNT driver. And that, I think, is when people are talking about starter companies. I don't think the money at Prime is starter company money, but I think that, well, for some people maybe, but I think that when you start treating all the drivers the same, then you start having older drivers, people that have been in the company a long time, kind of resenting that fact. All right, don't get me wrong. I don't want the camera in my truck either. I just hate the QC. Hey, I understand. I hate it too. I can't stand the QC. So that is a problem, I think, with Prime. And Myth Leather Company says that's the SOP. I understand that too. And one thing is I will say about me when I was a manager in the mortgage industry was I didn't play that everybody's equal bullshit, because everybody shouldn't be treated equal. The people that put up the numbers, I dealt with more shit. If you put up them numbers every month, you could turn in a sloppy load. You could have a customer maybe call and complain. I might even deal with some compliance shit here and there. But if you're that person that's not putting up those numbers, you know what, then you do get treated different. So that whole, I don't think that's, there are ways you could do that even at a company this big. Even with some of the little, what do they call these things? Pilot programs or whatever that they, we're testing this out like they've been testing shit out for like 4 or 5 years. You could just test all your drivers over X amount of years. You could put them in like some little pilot program where they don't have to like do a certain number of things. You know what I mean? Everybody just does not have to get treated like the day one rookie. And you could focus more on the day one rookies. So what happens is you have some of these programs in place that are wasting time on people that already know what they're doing, taking away from time from the people that don't know what they're doing. So that's all. So I started thinking about all the shit, all the reasons why there is to be a prime, and I was like, you know what? Just the headaches of making a switch and all that kind of stuff just isn't anything that I'm looking forward to doing. Especially now, I'm so relaxed right now. I can't even believe it. Like I'm more relaxed than I've been in like a long time. All right. So anyway. Last night I saw somebody do some Dukes of Hazzard shit. So I'm leaving the Prime Terminal, and maybe about 15 miles west on 44, there's a car that's like super close behind me. And I'm talking about for miles and miles and miles, like all the way to Joplin. And he's like weaving in and out of lanes. And I'm not talking about straddling lanes. I'm talking about going all the way from the left lane, all the way to the right lane, and all the way back into like the, all the way to the edge, almost hitting the grass, like all this stuff. Cars and trucks were passing, almost hitting the cars and trucks. And there was a time when highways were merging, so we were almost by Joplin. There's somebody merging in. So I get in the left lane. Now this car has been behind me this whole time for almost like 50 miles. So I'm in the left lane. The car speeds up to get in front of the truck that's merging, or the two trucks that are merging onto the highway. So this is the first time this guy's been in front of me the whole night. And I've been saying this guy's about to go off the road. Or girl, whatever it is. So about 2 minutes later, I see the trucks hit their brakes, and I'm in the right lane, so I can kind of look over a little bit. The car went off into the grass on the side of the road. There's a little ditch right there. Goes into the ditch, jumps up into the... There's a sign there with like the 2 metal poles there with like, Joplin or whatever it says. Went through that shit and landed maybe 40 yards off into the fields and stuff, and it didn't look that bad. It probably might have totaled the car. I don't think it would have been anything that would have killed anybody or anything, but I was just like, hopefully that guy gets out of the car and starts walking, because he does not want to be there when no police officer shows up on the scene. And if he was, he's wearing his detox Reeboks this morning. Let me go grab my other phone right quick, because for some reason these comments stopped, and I don't know if people are still commenting or not. I'm at the Quick Trip in Joplin, Missouri, right across the street from Flying J. All right. Give me just a second. All right. So let me see if... All right, I guess there just ain't no comments coming in. All right, so anyway, that's kind of the deal. I'm going to be going home on the 28th of October. I was thinking about stopping at that Big Apple truck stop. That is one of my favorite places to stop. But I haven't ever ate the Indian food there. But yeah, I think that people this morning or last night were more interested in getting a free breakfast than they were trying to get a load, because I just went down there, walked down there, they're like, here's a load, boom. Picked that shit up, got out of there. Now what I want, if I was in the meeting, I might want to ask about what kind of technology are we putting in place to help with, you know, some of the processes that hold up drivers. That right there. What's up, trucker Kersey? I was just talking about some of the drivers that I spoke with that have been at Prime for years, 10 years, some of the recent ones, and just kind of what their thoughts are and why they're staying at Prime, things like that. And I was just saying, I kind of came to that conclusion myself. Not that I was really entertaining leaving, but sometimes you just get a little, it's not, I wouldn't say they're disrespectful or anything like that, but just sometimes the tone of some of the talk is I think they changed it up a little bit, because I think maybe a few people kind of took them up on that offer, but that's all. I mean, it's... Oh, I tell you what. I finally figured out where a great place to stop is. I've never stopped there. If you're ever in Texas on 35, in Natalia, Texas, there's a Love's on one side and a Cubby's or Chubby's on the other side. They got truck drive-thrus for Charlie's, which is that sub shop, and then like some Mexican food. Anyway, they got a truck drive-thru over there, so go check that out. I haven't gone through there, but I did notice it. What's my handle? My handle is Shorty Doo-Wop. So anyway, that's kind of what's up. So I got a bunch of shit done on my truck last night. I got to get back through Denver, like I said, on the 28th. And then I got to put my truck in the shop out there for some recall type stuff. A pokerhead is called Natalia, Texas. Natalia. There's Love's on one side, and then this other truck stop on the right-hand side. So I will be at home probably from the 28th to like maybe the, I don't know. I got to see what my wife's travel schedule is, because I'm going home to watch the dogs. So I'm going to get home a few days before my wife leaves, or a couple days before my wife leaves, and I'll probably want to stay a couple days after she gets back, if possible. So that's what's going on with that. I'm really not, I don't want to get too deep into where I'm at as far as, well, I can get into some of it. I just want to make sure I'm completely through it before I talk about everything. But, and I don't mean everything, I just mean everything as far as just some of the finances go, things like that. Even though I don't really want to talk about money, but we are about to run up the bag. We're definitely about to start running up the bag. That is something we're about to do, as the young people say. My plan is almost foolproof. I got the one truck sold, turned in the 2 newest ones, so it's just me. No, like, man, it is so peaceful. And I look, I just talked to a couple of my drivers, just the old drivers, just yesterday, and no matter how much I love you, boys, them phone calls were stressing the motherfucker out every now and then. Even when they weren't bad phone calls, because I was just anticipating it. So now I'm just like totally relaxed. Like, I know it's just like whatever it is, it's all on me. And that's kind of the game I like to play. So I kind of led myself astray a little bit. I'm trying to see where I'm dropping. Has anybody been to Reinhardt, Knoxville, and Louisville, Tennessee? I don't think I've been there before. It looks like it's in the middle of nowhere. Looks like a decent place, but it's off the beaten path. There was a time I was training. I had my boy, his name was Juwan, on the truck. He was one of Miss Mother Trucker students before, she couldn't finish him out because she was going to get some stuff done down in Tijuana. And we were out in that Louisville, Kentucky area. Not Louisville, Kentucky, but we were in that area of the country, and we took a wrong turn, and it was like the next turn is like 40 something miles. I mean, we were like about to go on the sticks, and sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. How do I poop between stops? I'm a grown-ass man. I wake up in the morning just like I have my whole life. If I'm shitting anywhere other than, when I was in the mortgage business, that's just something you gotta do in the morning. Same thing here. But in the mortgage business, I would never do it in the office. I wasn't gonna have anybody looking under the stall, seeing whose shoes it was, or anything like that. I would leave my office, go to the hotel that was near my office, go do it there, and I would go like to a floor where nobody be at. And then I might even get some happy hour shit on the way out. Some free hors d'oeuvres or whatever. But I just do it at the beginning of my drive shift, and that's it. I ain't, I think that's a GPS now. Let me see. It is a General. Well, I don't know if you're saying General Mills, but anyway, I don't think I've been there before. Myth Leather says my bottle will be waiting when I get home. Well, whether it's waiting or not, I'm gonna be killing it. I don't know about killing it, but I'm definitely going to probably spend a little bit more money on a bottle than I normally would. Hair is definitely going to be gone when I get home. John is going to be starting at Salt Lake City for orientation this Sunday if you're free. I'll shoot you a call. Will there be a time that's good for you? I'll be leaving Pueblo. Man, just call me anytime, man. If I don't answer the phone, it's because I'm sleeping, which I should be doing now, but I figured I don't have to leave till like 7 in the morning. I got an 8:30 pickup, and I'm 15 miles away, so... Alright, Pokerhead, you're probably right on that. I see the snow is flying already out that way. Yeah. I'm not sure I want to be doing no training on the pad in Salt Lake City. You might want to choose a driver that does that shit over the road, because, man, standing out there with all that sleet and snow. Woo. Shit, what else do I want to talk about? There was some other stuff. So, all right. So here's what it really boils down to. So I thought about, I wasn't actively thinking about leaving Prime. Let me turn this truck on. But it made me reevaluate why I was at Prime, and made me kind of work through my head if some of the bullshit was worth the positives. And right now, I think it is, no matter how I feel about some of the stuff. And sometimes you just got to do that, I guess. Hey, Shamarcus, I'm telling you, I am so stress-free, I do not believe it. Man, I can start looking back. I can start, I strayed from my original plan is kind of what happened. And this puts me right back on that. And in December, I'm just telling you, without even thinking about it, it's going to be $4,500 a week. Well, let me see. Yeah, whatever. Let's even just say it's $2,000 a week, which is going to be more than that, but it's just so stress-free. And I just don't think some people realize. I just heard about another truck driver, and I'm not sure if it was somebody driving for a fleet or whatever, but when you have people driving your truck, sometimes you don't know what people are going to be doing, right? And there was another driver in Charlotte that just got a $3,000 boot put on their truck for parking at a Lowe's hardware store. So those are always things that you'd be worried about. Even if everything's going good, you're always worried about that kind of thing. Like, I was just talking to somebody the other day, and they were parked at some abandoned mall near Washington, D.C., and I was like, bro, there's no way I would park there. And he's like, well, why not? There's some other trucks here. First of all, there's nothing more they'd rather do than to boot multiple trucks at one time, or tow multiple trucks at one time. Last week, and this is serious, not last week, like 3 days ago, was almost the first time that I didn't park in an actual parking spot at a truck stop. I've never parked on the side of the road. The closest I've came to getting outside the box is parking in a warehouse, commercial area, something like that. But I was parked next to the scale, 3 trucks deep, and I was like looking at it, and I was like, can they pull out easily? I was like, they could probably do it, but I still have that question, so I just stayed up, and finally somebody pulled out, and I was able to just back in. So I wouldn't have been able to sleep parked in that spot anyway, so it's probably good that I didn't. Because if you think in 3,000, I mean, that's really not that. Here's the way I look at it, okay? So if I'm just doing a regular lease on a truck, and these are just rough numbers, and this is for anybody that is coming into trucking, or maybe they're in training. But the way I always looked at it is you take half of what your revenue is, and that's going to be your take home. Roughly. Things are going to change a little bit here and there. Maybe if you ran short miles or had light loads or whatever. But so if you do, and that's with the truck payment. So if you do, let's say you just do $5,000. So $5,000 would mean I'm taking home let's say $2,200 to $2,600. So if there's no truck payment, add another $1,000, $1,200 to that, and that's kind of where you're at. And that's at $5,000. That's not even that much revenue. I mean, it's average, maybe a little less than that. Alright, you will be able to take 58 days off now without worrying about a truck payment. I know I'm counting down the days. I don't know if I'm going to do that, because there is some stuff that I want to do around the house, get some renovations done, stuff like that. So I'll still be having that kind of motivation. But what it at least allows me to do is dream again, because I couldn't dream as far as, let me set aside money to do this, or throw extra money into the stock market, or do whatever, because I was always worried about that next shoe to drop. So that's one of the best things about it. Not necessarily having any more money, but just the ability to dream. Think of the possibilities. Sure miss them $7,000 to $8,000 weeks. I kind of miss those when I was training in Prime, but I don't miss them sleepy days. I'm not sure if you were just training or just doing your regular thing, but my last student in Prime, I made so much money there, I thought it was illegal. And it still wasn't worth it for me to do it. I mean, I like the people I train. I mean, we still talk on occasion and all that kind of stuff, but I'm just not sure that I could do that shit long term. Especially when they ain't getting people off the truck. Wanda says that's how she calculates her take home. That's what I'm talking about. What's up, Lyle and Joplin? My feet is at the dealer getting E316 campaign done. I don't know what the E316 campaign is, but I got something where they're going to have to get down into the engine and drain it all out, and some kind of a bolt or something like that. So I'm getting that done when I go back to Denver. So Pokerhead is going to give training a shot. Hey, listen, I think everybody should train. There's nothing that made me a better driver than training somebody. So I would suggest training. What I don't suggest doing is students training students. I didn't feel comfortable training until I was way down the road. I mean, I think the time frame they're letting people train at is a little bit too short. John, boy, listen, I can't train in the winter. That's one thing I can't do, because I may not carry a bunch of shit on my truck in the summer, but in the winter, I'll have a full shovel on the truck. I'll have how many bottles of anti-gel do I got? Because I'm not letting what happened last year happen again. I probably got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bottles of anti-gel here, maybe 12 under the bunk. Some of that was from anti-gel that was left in trucks from other stuff. But I got ice melt. I got just more shit. And if I train somebody, I just can't have all that space. And that's that takes a lot of trust. If I trained somebody in the wintertime, we would just be doing solo loads. And you just can't do that and make money under Prime system. Hey, that's good getting that winter, training in. Here's the thing. Is your trainer going to have winter training already? Because there's people that they're queuing up to train that haven't driven in winter themselves yet. So it could be the blind leading the blind. Hey, Lyle, Prime driver here. Where are you at now? I just left Prime Terminal last night, and I'm in Joplin at the Quick Trip. Went there, got there 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Got my truck in the shop at like 7:30. I was done there and had a load out by like 3 o'clock because it had to go to the shop. So I didn't get held up. I think too many people were like, you know what? I'd rather get a free breakfast than making like several hundreds of dollars dropping a load off. So, all right, Pokerhead. Right now, my FM was asking, but I never feel like I had enough knowledge to give. But I've been driving now for 5 years. Man, listen. I do think that it has something to do with knowledge. So when I say that I think that a lot of people don't have enough experience in terms of the amount of time that Prime is saying you could train, what I will say is the knowledge is less. Like, I'd rather have a driver with less knowledge and a better temperament than a driver that had all the knowledge but no temperament whatsoever. So as long as you have patience and all that kind of stuff, and you're not out there trying to dominate a student, which I think there's some people that just train just because they got picked on their whole life and they just want to go belittle people for 3 or 4 straight months or something. I don't know, but all right. America's Almanac is on his way to the hellhole of McDonough, Georgia. Have fun out there in McDonough. You might run into one of my boys out there, Craig. He's out there in Georgia right now. He's going to be leaving from that area on Sunday or Monday, one of the two. Trucker Avocado, boy, that is a blast from the past right there. I gotta even see if I have your phone number, because I lost a bunch of phone numbers a while back. I definitely need to catch up with you. Damn, that's been a while right there. But I'm about to, let me see. The dude was in South Florida, hauled ass before the hurricane hit. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, I am extremely tired right now. I had a load that, it's been a while since I've had a chance to rest my weary head, should they say. Yeah, I still got the same number, bro. Just give me a call. But I'm about to get off here and go to sleep. The only reason I did this live was I don't have to get up till like early morning, and I'll have all night to sleep. Otherwise, I would definitely need to be sleeping right now. But listen, if you're thinking about coming to Prime, do not be. Listen, you're going to be dealing with some shit lately. But from my perspective, it may not be a dream job. Like, I don't wake up in the morning like, here's the thing. All right, the whole culture is changed at Prime, and I'm not just talking about like from the upper, people. I'm saying down to the driver. Like, when I first came to Prime, man, you'd be driving down the highway and people would be going out of their way to wave at you, almost so much it was like goofy and shit. Now you can't get a motherfucker to wave at you. I've actually just given up on it. I'm not even embarrassing myself trying to wave at anybody right now. And even at that level, the driver level has got to that point. And I think Facebook has a lot to do with that. Facebook has just been destroying some of the culture at Prime. Man, I don't even think they even post anything about trucking on the Facebook pages anymore. It's all about politics and goofy shit and all this kind of stuff. Nobody helping each other, you forget about the upper management. And that's, before I get off, I'm gonna just tell kind of a story. My son used to be a little bit of a snitch back in the day. Like, his sister do some shit, motherfucker come and run in and tell me some shit he's doing. And I was like, you know what? You can't be doing this shit. You know what I mean? I would, even though I'd like to know the shit that your sister's doing, I think the relationship that you're endangering by coming and telling me this shit is worth less than, anyway, you guys need to have the relationship. You guys need to have a strong relationship. Don't endanger your relationship trying to tell me some shit. And I think that I'm gonna spend another 30 minutes talking about this shit. Let me get off this damn live, because I'm gonna be speaking another 30 minutes trying to wrap my head around what I'm trying to say. But I'm gonna shorten it up. Whether you're Prime, Swift, Sierra ST, Sierra England, Hirschbach, whatever, man, your drivers, not your drivers, but the rest of the drivers on your fleet, all that kind of stuff, you guys should have you guys should have your own relationship that should supersede anything above upper management. And if upper management says, you know what, or even fucking safety, security, whoever, you know what, if they think that they're actually strengthening the culture at a company by even acknowledging the fact that somebody's turning somebody in for a lock, or whatever the shit is, taking a picture, sending it to them, you know what, they're damaging the fabric of the company at the most basic level. And if listen, my daughter's out at home sewing shit and knitting sweaters and doing all this kind of stuff. If that most basic stitch is fucked up, the whole sweater's fucked up. So if you got drivers telling on drivers, and we don't have that basic family atmosphere ourselves, it just works its way up from there, and everything's jacked up. I hope I'm making sense, but I'm probably not. Anyway, I'm about to get off here. Shamarcus, I think that, okay, this is the last thing I'm going to say. I think part of the reason for that is I don't even know why it's like that. You look at the Facebook pages and shit like that, and you have people basing whether they like you or not, or they got something to say about you or not, based on your political views and shit like that. When that when that comes between drivers that would in all other instances be fine, then that's a problem. And if you're on Prime, just go through some of the Facebook pages and look to see what is actually even spoke about that is trucking related and what is outside of that. And it's not, it'd be different if it was like not meant to antagonize or divide anybody, but that's all it is. We're dividing ourselves from the fucking bottom up. And then you have like people that are above us that ain't really doing us any better in terms of that. Then that's why you have people leaving Prime, not because of the fucking cameras. People aren't leaving Prime. Some people are, but it's like some of the other stuff, and it's so easy to correct. It's so easy to fucking correct. You know, the Prime Peterbilt page or whatever is a good page. There's a student page I think that I'm on as well, and then there's the Small Fleet Owner page. That page is so valuable. Had I been part of that page beforehand, that I would have saved myself all kinds of, you know, that would have made me look at everything in a totally different light. Just seeing what everybody else is going through. I know my man Shamarcus put up there on his page when one of his drivers put death in the fuel tank. You know, so you got that. Then you always got this, you know, people. Junior just had 2 trucks up at Prime. You know, that's probably the most valuable page. It won't be any further because there is no way in hell I'm going to do that shit again. So maybe I don't necessarily need to be on that page anymore, but I do think that alright, I'm going to leave it with this, okay? And this is just for my philosophy. Here's, okay, so you had I don't know, I don't think it was directly done by entities within the company to divide the drivers. But because you have divided drivers, you have issues with like, I think, how can I explain? I think in some companies, I'm not even going to say Prime is this company. If they want to fit themselves in this box, then they can. But when a company's employees are broke down mentally, it's, in one way you could look at that and say, hey, they're divided, so now we can conquer. And now we can do whatever we want, and then, you know, we don't have to worry about anything. The problem is, that is the problem. It's easier to unite a united group of drivers or mortgage bankers or car salespeople or whatever than it is to unite a fractured group of drivers. And some of the stuff that's been happening has been fracturing the drivers, whether it be stuff that is outside of Prime, whether that be politics or whatever, or stuff inside of Prime, where you have, you know, people that are like, hold on a second. I don't know. I got to get off here. I think my battery's about to go out. But I think that if everybody at Prime was like united, truck drivers, just in general, just the truck drivers, it would make everything so easy from the top coming down to just be accepted. Whereas I almost feel like it was almost a situation where not necessarily going out of their way to divide it, but that kind of happened. And I think that's where you start getting this fracture among the drivers. And once you have a bunch of drivers thinking a bunch of different shit, it's like herding cats. Anyway, I'm about to get out of here. I do appreciate you guys stopping by. No Hippie Truck and Transportation. If you are thinking about leaving Prime, listen, think about all the shit three-dimensionally. Don't just leave on no whim or something like that. Trust me, as a younger person in my 20s or maybe early 30s, I would have already left this company. Maturity is the reason why I don't. Because I left companies over a bunch of stupid fucking reasons. And I left those companies without having a long-term view of where I wanted to be. Well, people are coming back, but there were people that should never have left. Like I said, it's not because of the cameras. I mean, I think that lit the fire, but I think that people left because it was almost like, what were they saying? If you want to leave, we need to come up with an exit strategy. And, you know, I think more people aren't coming back than are coming back. I just want the culture to come back. And I've only been in Prime for like, I forget if it's 6 years or whatever it is. You know, I talk to these people that have been in Prime for like decades, or, you know, one that just hit a decade, one that's like at 8 years, and it's like, sometimes, I don't know, it's I just want that culture to come back. I want to be looking all goofy as fuck waving at somebody on the highway. I want to be like, and I'm lucky, you know what I mean? At least there's a certain number of people that just come up to me just because they recognize me. But how would I feel being a brand new driver walking in a terminal and nobody saying shit? Or you know, it's just like mind-boggling how things have changed even on that front. Anyway. So I'm about to get off here, take my ass to sleep, but I do appreciate you guys stopping by. No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. As always, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.